Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we turn confusing corporate reports into something you can actually understand. Today we are diving into M-Team Homes' latest quarterly report. And let me tell you, it's a mixed bag of results. We're talking big profits, sure, but also hints of trouble brewing in the housing market. Stick around and we will uncover the whole story. Scroll March 31, 2025's new app, Chem-Ept Homes, just released their 10Q, basically a financial checkup for the first 3 months of the year, ending in March. It's got all the numbers, all the details. Scroll Document Quarterly Report Numeric Tier. First things first. This is a quarterly report, meaning it covers January, February and March of this year. It's like a shorter version of their annual report. Scroll Entity File Number Numeric SUT. The company is M-Sign Homes. They are based in Ohio. Their main business is building and selling homes, mostly single-family houses. Scroll Common Shares Par Value Tunt Ed 01 Nuex Tick Exchange, and their ticker symbol is MHO. So if you are curious, that is how you can find them. Now, the table of contents gives you an overview of what we are going to look at. So let's dive in. Let's jump straight into the numbers with the balance sheets. This is a snapshot of what the company owns, called assets, and what it owes, called liabilities, at a specific point in time. Scroll cash equivalents, restricted cash and restricted cash and restricted cash and restricted cash at Homes had about $776 million in cash and similar short-term investments at the end of March. That is a lot of money, but less than they had at the end of last year, where they had $821 million, meaning they used about $50 million of their cash this quarter. Scroll Inventory Real Estate Unit, which is mainly land and homes they are building, is at $3.2 billion. So that is up a bit from the end of last year, meaning they are investing in new projects. Asset Numeric C overall, their total assets are at $4.58 billion, which is slightly up from the end of last year. Scroll Liability Numex, looking at the other side of the balance sheet, M.EA Homes has about $1.57 billion in total liabilities. Scroll Stockholders Equity Numeric to Shareholders Equity, which is the value of the company owned by its shareholders, is at $3 billion. So that is up slightly from the end of last year, so everything is looking good there. Scroll Amrinens per share diluted Nunept key. Now let's move on to the income statement. This shows how much money the company made or lost over the last 3 months. Scroll Revenue New Chemdoan. Homes brought in about $976 million in revenue, but that is less than the first quarter of last year when they brought in $1.4 billion, so even 7% decrease. Scroll Cost of Goods and Services sold Numeric 2. Their cost of land and housing, which is like the cost of goods sold, is about $723 million. Scroll General and Administrative Expense Numeric Steer General and Administrative Costs, which are those needed to keep the company going, are at $59 million total. It costs and expenses like marketing are about $52 million total. It costs and expensing numeric iron and total. It cost them 8 pence a new numeric iron total. It cost them 8 pence a new numeric total. It cost them $29 million total. It cost them 8 pence in numeric mixed total rate. Scroll Income Loss from Continuing Operations. Before income taxes, domestic new EC 8. That leaves them with an income before taxes of $146 million, which is less than what they made in the first quarter of last year. Scroll Net Income Loss in Numechi. After paying taxes, their net income or total profits came out to about $111 million. This translates to $3.98 per share for their shareholders. This is definitely less than the previous period. Scroll USGAP Weighted Average NAFO Diluted Shares Outstanding ENUV. The number of shares they have outstanding is about 27.9 million. Scroll Weighted Average Diluted Shares Outstanding Numeric School. So to recap, their revenue and profits are down compared to last year. It's definitely a weaker performance than previously. Scroll a Shareholders Equity Numeric 2. Now let's look at the statement of shareholder equity. This shows how the ownership stake in the company changes over time. Scroll Shares Outstanding Nuept starting from the beginning of the year, there were about 27 million shares outstanding. Scroll Profit Loss Numeric net income added $111 million to retained earnings, which are past profits reinvested in the business. Scroll Stock issued during period share stock options exercise new EPSIG. Some people exercise their stock options, which also affects this number. Scroll Treasury stock value acquired Cosmethine Numerips. They also bought back some of their own shares called Treasury shares for $50 million. That means they are investing in themselves. Scroll holders' equity, including portion attributable to non-controlling interest numeric. Dividing it all up, the balance at the end of March is about $3 billion in shareholder equity. Scroll net income loss numeric P. Now let's look at the statement of cash flows, which shows where the company's cash came from and where it went. Scroll payments for origination of mortgage loans held for say numerics. Steal from their day-to-day business called operating activities. There was a lot of movement in and out of cash, but there was a good amount of mortgage loan originations for $620 million. Scroll proceeds from sale of mortgage loans held for say numeric 2. They had income from mortgage loans of $671 million, which is slightly more than previously. Scroll decrease in inventory in Turk. Their inventory increased for $107 million, meaning they are investing heavily in future sales. Scroll decrease in other operating liabilities numeric. Accounts payable increased, meaning they delayed paying for things they bought. Scroll net cash provided used in operating activities meter. Overall, operating activities generated $64 million in cash, which is used in investments. Scroll payments to acquire property, plant and equipment Unimextree. When it comes to investing, they purchased $1.3 million in property and equipment. Scroll payments to acquire interest in subsidiaries and affiliates numeric 2. They invested $8.2 million in joint ventures. Scroll net cash provide you used and investing activities nude $2.9 million. In cash, Scroll proceeds from repayments of short-term debt maturing in 3 months or less non-numeric. Till now, let's check where they got their money. In financing, they repaid some bank loans, $58 million. Scroll payments for repurchase of common stock Newidshire. They spent $50 million buying back their own shares. Scroll net cash provided used in financing activities used $107 million in cash. Scroll cash equivalents, restricted, cash and restricted, cash and restricted, cash and created, cash and numerics. Dovra, when it all adds up, the cash decreased by $45 million this period. Escrow interest paid Netmol Newich Hover, when it all adds up, their cash decreased by $45 million in interest expenses. Scroll community development, district infrastructure, Murdoch in Numi. One interesting thing is that $5.2 million was attributed to consolidated inventory that wasn't actually owned, meaning it was not real dollars, but accounting tricks to account for property they had rights to. Scroll, basis of presentation in Emit T. There's a section about accounting methods they use that says there were no significant changes in the policies from the last year. Basically, they are doing things the same way as before. Scroll segment reporting Nun XT. Now comes the interesting part where we start seeing how the different segments perform. Scroll revenue numerics, their northern home building brought in $10 million compared to $48 million last year. So mostly flat from last year. Scroll revenue numeric, southern home building had $534 million in revenue, which is down from last year, which was at $611 million. So a decrease there. Scroll revenue numerics, financial services had $31 million, which is up from last year. So they did well there. Scroll general and administrative expense numerici. They had general and administrative costs of $40 selling expense numerics. Selling costs were about $52.2 million. Scroll operating income loss numeric stiv. The northern operating income was solid at $60 million, with southern being very good at $80 million, with financial services being decent with about $18 million. Scroll the scarp interest expense numeric 4. The corporate interest expense was $597, showing that they have money that earns them interest. Scroll this gap segment reporting disclosure text block new ep. Tax dogs at MD and Homes are looking at these numbers to figure out how well each area of the business is doing. Scroll stock repurchase program authorized amount 1 unium-ish. The company's board approved a new share repurchase program so they can buy back up to $250 million of their stock. This can help boost the stock price. Scroll GARP, loan repurchase, guarantee liability new Mexico. They recorded a liability relating to loan guarantees of $1.3 million. Scroll letters of credit and bonds they have outstanding bonds and letters of credit that add up to almost $500 million. These expire at different times over the next few years. These are essentially guarantees that projects will be completed. Scroll such as auctions, land and finally, they have land purchase agreements worth a total of $1.7 billion, showing they are planning for the future and locking in land deals. Scroll commitments and contingencies, disclosure, text block, numeric. Text, they mention that they are involved in some lawsuits, as with any company of this size. They have set aside $1.2 million to cover legal expenses. Scroll real estate inventory capitalized interest costs incurred ek. Kiv up, they spent money to improve the land for $8.9 million. So definitely a long-term investment. Scroll's Inflation Reduction Act, numeric tit. The company got a $1 million tax break for energy efficient homes from the Inflation Reduction Act. Scroll anti-dilutive securities excluded from computation of earnings per share amount numeric. Ditto earnings per share is 4.77 cents. Scroll guarantees text block they have a limited life guarantee on certain loans, meaning they might have to buy back loans if things go wrong early on. The total value of the loans covered was around $712 million ex gross and inflation. Dollars is significantly affected by general economic conditions, including interest rates and inflation. So putting it all together, what is the read here? Well, M-Town Homes is facing a challenging market. Revenue and profits are down. They are clearly spending big money to keep sales up with land acquisition. However, they have a solid financial foundation. They have a huge number of assets and not as much debt. And they are buying back their own stock, which shows they believe in themselves. The key risks here are really related to interest rates and the economy. It is definitely a difficult environment for home builders. As we see interest rates rise, it makes homes less affordable, which directly affects the bottom line. M-Town Homes really needs to manage its costs carefully and keep an eye on demand. But they have a good reputation. They seem to be building good quality homes in desirable locations, and that's something to be said. So overall, I am cautiously optimistic on this report. It is definitely not all sunshine and rainbows, but M-Town seems well prepared to handle whatever the market throws at them. Thanks for tuning in to Corporate Decoder. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button, leave a comment and subscribe for more insights into the world of corporate finance.